Welcome to Breakthrough Explorer, and if you are new here, welcome. If you're not, hi, I hope you're doing well. I am doing the best that you can in the moment that you're in. We all know that some moments are not good, and some moments are tough and trying. As much as I live with fibromyalgia and CRPS and chronic fatigue, I know that one as well. All too familiar, all too familiar. So, thank you for coming to watch today. Today is another video on the Wellness Swoop from Mayo Clinic, and the topic that I am going to talk about today is going to be scheduling. Last time I talked a little bit about moderation, but this time I'm going to talk about some of the things that they taught around how to schedule out all the things that are important in our day, and some of the tips that they gave us. So I'll get right into it. So from a scheduling perspective, they wanted us to write down all the things that we were going to do in a day on an hourly schedule. They want us to know that we're going to be doing things at a certain time every day. I spoke a little bit last week, or in the last video, not last week, in the last video about how I wake up and go to sleep at the same time. That is written down. The other activities that I do in a day, when I'm going to be walking, doing the stairs, doing my stretching, doing my deep breathing, all those things are written down in a calendar, and I can check them off to say, okay, I did that today. There are some days that are not as good as other days, and that is okay. But it is a way to say, okay, did I overdo something in a certain day to where I wasn't able to do the things the next day? And it kind of helps build the brain pathways to be thinking about, I like how I feel when I feel good, and because I'm doing all these other things that are on my schedule. And then that way it kind of helps set the pattern in your brain. So I write it down on a schedule. I use an hourly planner, and I'm able to check off all the things that I do. So if I go walk the stairs, if I do my deep breathing 3 times a day, if I get up at the same time, or go to bed at the same time that I'm expecting to, did I shower that day? Did I eat my 3 meals? Those kinds of things are all on my schedule. Kind of can seem silly at times to have everything so scheduled out, but it has been one of the greatest tools that I have had, because I haven't kept that big of a schedule for a long time, other than work. So I have cut back a lot on my working, but not every day is perfect, because my work is not perfect. I have a very demanding job that demands a lot out of me, and so I have to determine if I'm going to give more energy one day to my job, or if I'm going to stop working at the set time and continue on with my schedule. But having the schedule forces me to look at it and say, okay, I can still get all this done and still be more productive when I stick to the schedule, because I haven't burnt out my energy. And that's very important and a key to managing my chronic fatigue. If I overdo it in any one day, I might feel it for 3 or 4 days afterwards. And I have learned, because of following this program, that I would rather not burn those 3 or 4 days, because I lose more time that way, and I'm not as effective, I'm not as productive, I don't feel like I am being a good mom, and those kinds of things. And that's super important to me. And since they've taught me these tools, all of those activities have felt that I can be more present and more engaged in them. One other topic, since I'm talking about being present, is that I think I briefly mentioned in the last video, was that I schedule in deep breathing time into my day. They taught us a process called diaphragmatic breathing, where they want you to do breathing exercises for 5 minutes. They suggest 3 times a day for 5 minutes. And there are some times that I actually go longer than those 5 minutes, just so that I get in the habit, and it helps de-stress. I tend to go longer in the evenings to do that relaxation breathing, especially on a stressful day. It has been super helpful, and I really appreciate that skill. And one of the things that I do is I schedule that. That's written in my calendar as well. And sometimes I have to be flexible about, especially my midday break to do the deep breathing because of work, but that's okay. But at least it's in my schedule to where I remember to do it. And that has helped a lot with my stress level. Now, if I don't manage my stress, my pain goes up. And so I've kind of started to correlate those, because I've been doing this for about 4 months now. Yeah, about 4 months. I have noticed a huge difference in the days that I stick to the schedule and the days that I don't, and whether I have managed my stress that day or not, and where my pain sits. This was even before I had the procedure done on my back, but it's crucial to my day, absolutely crucial to my day. So that diaphragmatic breathing, you can find videos on YouTube about it, but I will also be doing a video on it specifically, because I also use a tool called Inner Balance by Heart Math Plus Incorporated. It is a business that's based out of Colorado. That is an app and a device that tracks your heart rate and helps you through the deep breathing. And I've been using that for about 2 months now, and it has really helped with my meditation practice. And I think that has also been a key to my stress management, which is absolutely huge when it comes to fibromyalgia pain management. Is that stress is a big factor in how much pain you're in on a given day. The other thing around scheduling is that the movement, and I know I touched on this the last time, but movement is a big deal for me, especially with my lower back and how much I sit to do my work. And so since I am a software engineer, I am at a computer all day long, and so I have to schedule these movement breaks in my day. It's not just the PT that I do in the morning or the stretching that I do at night. It's just, I also take a midday break to do some movement so that I can try to keep my muscles moving, my joints fluid, and some of that to make that a little bit easier. And the more that I do it, the longer that I can. So I started with, I could barely do 5 minutes at a time. And now I've been able to increase that to where I'm getting up to where I can do about 15 minutes at a time, and gradually increase that. And that is because I'm using these scheduling and these techniques that they teach in this wellness group. I wouldn't be able to do that otherwise, because I'd be burning myself out. My spoons would be gone. And so it's been really helpful for me. The other thing around scheduling is I schedule my meals. I'm one of those types of people that forget to eat. You wouldn't be able to tell because of my weight that I do that, but it's not super healthy for me to skip meals. And so I have been focusing on making sure that I meet my schedule for my meals. And as I do that, as I get more firm and making sure that I do eat 3 meals a day, I have gotten to where I'm starting to focus more on the nutrition and what's in the meals, and that will help me health-wise going forward. And that is exactly where I want to go in the long haul. Because I'm in this for the long haul. It's not just for today. It's not just for tomorrow. It's not just for this month. It's not just for this year. These are lifelong habits that I'm building and breaking the old ones. And so that's where I'm hoping to get with this, that it will help me moderately pace myself up to the place that I want to be. And therefore, in return, live a healthier life overall. So that's another area that has been helpful to be have that scheduled into my day. The other thing that I do is I also schedule in time to do something fun. So they talk about how leisure and fun and laughter helps as a distraction to the everyday life. There are so many times when we get so serious or we get so bogged down in our illness, the doctor's appointments and the figuring out why things are happening, or whether it's something new, whether it's something old, whether it's the same thing. Since fibromyalgia affects so many parts of the body in so many different ways, it's hard to know when you're dealing with a new symptom that whether it is related to what you're currently dealing with or whether it's something different. And so they talk about how to manage that and how to deal with that through scheduling. And this fun and leisure has been a big help for me. So the fun and leisure thing is I try to do something fun every day. So sometimes that's just watching a TV show. I am not a big TV watcher, haven't been for years. But I have started to schedule in to where I watch a show every day, something that brings me laughter. Like one of the biggest things that I laugh at is watching old reruns of Golden Girls, and they always make me chuckle, and bring a smile to my face, and that gets the good endorphins going in your brain. The other thing is hobbies, or coloring, or doing mandala art. I also create jewelry when I have the energy and I want to sit down and do that. Then I spend time doing that, and that brings me joy to be able to do that, because that's not something that I haven't done for years. Some people do puzzles or crosswords, or call up a friend, or watch a funny movie, those kinds of things. So having something that is fun in your day was something that they also stressed to schedule into the day, and every day. That's not just on the weekend thing, that's an everyday thing, to keep the mind open and free, and not too focused on anything serious from like a medical perspective, to give yourself a break from thinking about that stuff, because they don't really want, and I haven't talked about this much yet, is that they don't really want you to focus on the pain and the different things medically that are going on. They want you to focus on living life. They want you to break those habits to where you are living with a quality of life that you deserve to be living with, versus focusing on the pain or the fatigue. Because when you just focus on those things, then that's all you deal with. And that's rather depressing at times when you get into a cycle of doing that. And so they really want you to focus on all the other aspects of life so that you can have a quality of life. Because everybody, and I'm going to say this again, everybody deserves to live a quality of life, with a quality of life that is fruitful for them. And that looks different for everybody. I will admit that it looks different for everybody. But I know that my desire for a quality of life is I have pretty high standards. And so I know what I'm shooting for, and I'll get there one day, moderately and scheduled. But I can already feel that a lot of things are lifted, and that I'm doing much better than what I was when I was first had my injury, and when I was first diagnosed with fibromyalgia and CRPS and chronic fatigue. So I just want to say that there is hope out there. It has taken a lot of time and a lot of effort on my part to work through these things and really take to heart what Mayo is teaching me. I don't want to just have it be lip service of the things that they're teaching, but I want to take it into my heart and live it and see if it does help me, because I don't want to live where I was before, and I wasn't living. I was suffering I was dealing with some severe depression, and that is no way to live, because it was snowballing in the wrong direction, and I don't want that life for myself. I don't want that life for those that are around me, and therefore I am putting every ounce of effort that I can into the steps that Mayo has taught me through these wellness groups. So I just want to share this information with others so that they can potentially help themselves as well. And feel free to reach out for questions as well. I have a lot of pamphlets and things that I printed off from the wellness group. I can certainly look for answers in there for you, or point you to some of the resources that they gave us as well. So I want to say thank you again for watching, and I